A very good evening, respected Das Sahib, Rathji, Madam Sushma Rawatji, Balian Sahib, Vermaji, and all the distinguished panelists, guests, and industry giants. Being an academician, research scientist, I feel privileged to be among the explorationists and technologists working into the exploration and production of oil and gas. I thank the organizer, particularly Srivastavji, for the invitation, and I am overwhelmed and privileged to be associated with this important conclave and happy to share some of my thoughts and views. Now, everybody knows that India is holding the presidency of G20, in which 19 countries and European Union is discussing three important issues. One is that global economic stability. Next is that climate change mitigation. And third is sustainable development. And according to me, this conclave will provide a lot of important challenges, a lot of important futures. What are the way forward to address these three important issues? Energy is the prime driver for socio-economic development of any country. And mostly this demand is made by fossil fuels, oil, natural gas and coal, the burning of which produces methane gas or carbon dioxide or greenhouse gas, and it has been attributed that this carbon dioxide is the main reason for the global warming as well as climate change. Balian Sahib in introductory remark has pointed about this. So, at one hand we are seeing that fossil fuel is meeting the energy requirement. Energy is very much required for the socio-economic development, and that fossil fuel, what are being utilized, is producing carbon dioxide, which is attributed to the global warming and climate change. So we as an industrialist, as an academician, have a greater challenge how we can meet the climate mitigation, how we can meet the gigantic energy requirements. If we look into the energy scenario, then we have seen that 80% of the global energy requirement is made by fossil fuels. In the UN Convention, 197 countries have signed an agreement to pursue two important initiatives, all of you know. First initiative is that the carbon neutrality by 2050, and second initiative that net zero carbon by 2070. But how will we be able to achieve that? Because we are utilizing fossil fuels which are producing carbon dioxide, which are responsible for the climate change, and we are seeing the indicators of the climate change. I am from the Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology. We have been pursuing research. We are seeing the glaciers are shrinking, glacial lakes are being formed, sea surface temperature is increasing, land surface temperature is increasing, sea level is rising, and they are making adverse impact to the food security, health security, energy security, water scarcity, biodiversity, ecology, land degradation, excessive rainfall leading to landslides and flash floods, excessive snowfall leading to avalanches. They are causing a lot of hazards. So we see that there has been requirement of the energy, and that energy we are still in the world we are utilizing 80% of the requirement by the fossil fuels, and there have been a lot of efforts into the green energy, renewable energy. Madam Sushma Rawat also has mentioned, whether it is a solar, whether it is a wind, hydrogen, hydro, geothermal, nuclear, waste to energy, plastic to diesel, or maybe that agricultural residue to ethanol, EVs, batteries on wheels. But if we look into the last few decades, we have not been able to make any breakthrough by which that renewable and green energy resource can be utilized as an alternate to the fossil fuels. 2021 International Energy Agency report says that fossil fuels will remain for another few decades to meet the gigantic world energy requirement. So now we have a big challenge. We are seeing that it is the fossil fuels which will meet the energy requirement, and energy is must. Without energy, our life stands still. And we have not been made any breakthrough or renaissance into the green energy or renewable energy resource. So what are the way forward? The first way forward definitely depends on how we will be able to provide a secured and affordable green or renewable energy supply first. The second, if we cannot, how will we be able to make a gradual transition to the low carbon and environment safe energy resource. So to meet to this, and if we look into the World Energy Report, that 2021, and you have to depend on the fossil fuels, then the third alternative that lies on us, what Madam also has pointed out, is the solution is the carbon capture, sequestration, and utilization and sequestration. So in that context, again, we have to find out some innovative ways, innovative methods, how efficiently we can capture the carbon dioxide from the static sources. That can be processing unit, that can be factory, that can be household, or from the dynamic sources, which can be transportation. Whether it is possible only by the absorption, or some sort of innovative ways we have to find out. So if we are able to capture that carbon dioxide, utilization of the fossil fuel is not an issue. Then after capture, what is the next step? How best we can utilize that carbon dioxide for the domestic product or some sort of process that is usable. So what are that way forward? For that we can convert that captured carbon dioxide into carbonate. So for that again we have to do some sort of experiment, some sort of chemical reactions, catalytic chemical reactions by which we will be able to produce carbonate from the huge amount of carbon dioxide at a fast rate and a huge volume. So do we know that? If we can do that, then a problem is there, no problem is there, the solution lies there, and that carbonate can be utilized for several purposes. It can be used for drugs, it can be used for pulp, it can be used for glass, it can be used for water softener, it can be used even for chemicals, it can be used for many other purposes, cement, or that carbon dioxide can be converted into methanol and its derivative, and that methanol and derivative can be utilized for synthetic fabrics, paints, plywoods, agrochemicals. So we see a lot of ways. So we have to make a technological advancement into that direction if we have to use the fossil fuels. And we see that fossil fuel is the only way to meet the gigantic world energy requirement. So what are the next steps? If we can capture that carbon dioxide, we can transport and sequester into some of the geological formations. That can be depleted oil and gas field, that can be a deep coal seam, that can be subvolcanic sediments, suboceanic sediments, which have been proved by experiments and research that can hold that carbon dioxide for millions of years. Or that carbon dioxide can be utilized for the carbon flooding, for the enhanced oil recovery. It's heavy oil we can produce by utilizing that carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide can be utilized for the recovery of the methane from the gas hydrates through the molecular substitution. So we need to develop the technology. And we have found out that gas hydrate resource in our country is so huge, if we can produce only 10% that can meet our energy requirement 100 years at the current rate of the consumption. So this is some of the ways we can do. And if we look into the Indian scenario for the fossil fuels, then we have seen that we are indigenously producing only 30%. And the exploration of the oil and gas at ease is almost over. So we have to venture into the difficult terrain. That can be subvolcanic sediments, that can be deep oceans, that can be even thrust fold belt of the Himalaya. We have to look into that regions. And then as an alternate or as an unconventional energy resource, gas hydrates, coal bed methane, shale gas, shale oil has huge potential. But we have to find out a affordable in the sense that it should be environment safe and it should be some sort of production affordable technology development. So we don't have that. So if we can have some sort of technology development by which we will be able to produce those resources, gas hydrate, shale gas, coal bed, methane, that will not vitiate the environment, that will not have much cost, then our solution is also there, and we have that huge resources. But we are fortunate that in India, the geographic location is such that we have mighty Himalaya in the north, that have lot of geothermal energy resources, that have round the year lot of wind, lot of sunshine. We have huge coastline that have huge amount of wind and that solar, as well as there are some ocean currents, so tidal waves, and we have a mix of coal bearing sedimentary formations and gas bearing sedimentary formations in our country. We have that agricultural centric rural ecosystem, we have industry based urban ecosystem. We have seen in the southern part tropical atmosphere, northern if you go slowly it change into the temperate, then further north if you go into the Himalaya alpine. So different parts of the country need different types of energy resource, and we have mixed energy resource. So there lies a great opportunity for the development of the hybrid technology by which we can mix 2 or 3 energy resources and meet the energy requirements. That can be solar, that can be wind, mixed with the geothermal, or maybe tidal or ocean currents. And if we can do that hybrid, then 1 plus 1 we can make synergy, 11, not 2. So there lies tremendous opportunity in our country. We have huge amount of energy resources, but that energy resources has to be utilized properly so that we will be able to meet our requirement. We will not be able to have some sort of climate change phenomena. We will be able to mitigate that. So we have a greater challenge, and I am sure that this industry, that exploration and production conclave will come out with a lot of suggestions, with a lot of some sort of strategy that will help us to meet both how we will be able to mitigate the climate change impact and how we will be able to meet the energy requirement. Thank you very much for your patient listening.